You on mute?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning,
You got
Geisha.
on mute.
I can hear it.
Good morning.
It's
Good
you on
morning.
mute.
Okay, yep, is everyone on mute? We'll get started. All right, guys, thank you for joining the HOA meeting. This is our first one of 2022. 2025, goodness, it's still early. And we got a lot of information to share, so we're going to get started. And this meeting is recorded, so if anyone misses it, we will post it online as well. All right. Okay, so before we get started, please just hold all questions until the end. And again, this meeting's being recorded, so just remember that as we go through this process. All right, so agenda topics: old business, new business, improvement projects, spring readiness events, and then the last section is going to be open discussion. And we should have plenty of time for that because I think we'll get through this fairly quickly. Okay, so old business, pool amendment forms. The pool amendment forms are still trickling in. We're about 10 short at this point. We have 110 that have been completed. Now, the one challenge that we might have with these is because it's taken us so long, we'll have to have the attorney look at them and make sure that there's not any sort of realistic expiration on these. And if so, then we might be coming back to certain homeowners who gave us forms early and just have to get an updated signature. But we'll know more once we get everything that we need. New business. All right, so new business. I think we're going to start this off by welcoming our newest board member, Ms. Madeline Spann. She is our member at large. I don't know if Ms. Spann is on the call, but she just joined the board and is going to be helping us when it comes to getting some meetings established and getting things set up. For in-person events, etc. So we're excited to have her. The other new business is HOA Management Company, the bane of everyone's existence in this neighborhood. I think we know that exclusive has been a nightmare in terms of communication and timeliness. I think that was seen most recently with the last annual meeting with the last minute notice that went out. Some people didn't even know it occurred. So we have made a big change, and that is this. We have moved to a new company called Silverleaf Management. So as of April 1st, we will be under new management with this organization. So we'll have new access information, new login information for the portals. All that will be emailed and mailed to everyone by the 1st of April, okay? This is a huge deal for us. We did a lot of due diligence in looking into management companies, looking into who we have as a manager. Our property manager now is somebody who's local. She actually lives in the area. So it's good for a number of reasons. She can address issues quickly, but she's also somebody that you would be able to get a hold of a lot easier. And in terms of just how this company is structured, what they do to help their communities, everything from the board down to the residents. I mean, it's a really great organization. So we're excited to finally make that transition over to this new company. All right. Improvement projects. So so far we've had our mailbox construction covering in the back of the neighborhood, so that's been completed. We have to complete our fence staining on Lacey Lane. That will be completed in the next month. I'm just waiting for a start date from the contractor. We will be replacing the horse gates at the parking lot, putting some better gates up, and resurfacing that parking lot once all the project work is done up front. But the most important thing that we have going on right now is the main entrance monument. So we have some examples to share with you guys, a couple of options. And after this meeting, it'll either be tonight or tomorrow. Um, there'll be a link that'll be sent to everyone. We need you guys to go into this link and vote for your option. And you'll have until the 1st of April to get that to us. Um, that we want to make sure that you're involved in the process of helping us select what this monument looks like. So with that, let's take a look at some of the examples. All right. So this is example of monument number one. The only thing that would be different is the center section would be brick to match the brick that we have on our existing monuments, and then the stone obviously would be the same color as the stone that we have on the sides, and there would not be the wood detail across the top. But this is a really nice looking monument that will look good at Shire Drive. It has a small water feature. Based on cost, we may opt to go without the water feature. We'll have to see. But this is definitely been a strong contender as we've started to talk about what the future of Miller Park and the subdivision entrance looks like. Next option is this one. This one is
Oh,
two
I don't like that
columns,
one.
and
It looks,
it has brick in the middle. The brick would actually go all the way to the top. That'd be the one difference. There wouldn't be the wood hanging sign. It would be brick all the way to the top, and the columns would be slightly larger. But this just gives you an idea of what it would look like if we were to go with this option. And then, of course, the last one is what we're already used to. So essentially, a monument like this, it would just be a bigger version and would have a wall on the other side. So essentially, what we had before. Some people like that, and they want to see the same thing. So this is just indicative of what we've had previously, and we would just have this again. So this link is going to be coming out after this, and it will be posted on our social media accounts as well as emailed. And again, just click the link, follow the instructions. It'll take you less than 2 minutes to complete. And the deadline is April 1st. All right. So after the monument is constructed, we're going to have to do monument lighting, and we're going to do main entrance lighting all around Shire Drive in the parking lot area. So we know that we have electricians in the community, or people who have lighting companies in the community. And so we want to give everyone an opportunity to bid to do those projects. We want to try to keep that in the community as much as possible. So our previous lighting was actually done by a neighbor as well. So we want to kind of stay true to that. So if you have a licensed and bonded lighting or electrical business, we encourage you to participate in the bidding process, and not only participate in the bidding process, but if you have ideas for what you think would be best as we start to go through this process, we want you to be a part of that, because our goal is to keep this specifically within the community, because we know we have the resources within the community to do this. And it's always nice to keep money in our neighborhood if we can, amongst the residents. So spring readiness. All right. So a spring readiness letter will be coming out. I think it'll likely be sent out by the new management company, just because we're a week out essentially from transitioning to them. But just quick highlights of what it's going to consist of is painting. So faded siding, trim, and shutters. Same things we talk about every year. Weeds. If you struggle with weeds year after year, please seek professional recommendations. That even includes talking to the board, right? Some of us, we've fought weeds for years, and we have some solutions that we've used, whether they be things that we've tried on our own or individuals that we've hired within or outside of the community to help you. I will say with all of these things, though, being proactive is the biggest thing. If you get a notice and you have a question, reach out to us. Bypass going even to the management company. Send us an email. Send us a Facebook message. Reach out to us so that we can work with you to address whatever this is and give you some recommendations. Pressure washing, so driveways, sidewalks, siding. So some of the houses, they may actually not need to be painted. They need a good pressure washing. Buy you some time. Might buy you a couple of years. So that's another thing that you want to consider. Fence maintenance, if your fences are damaged or leaning or need to be stained, that's another thing on the spring readiness list. Removal of winter holiday decor. It's not a big issue, but there's a few houses left in the community that still have their winter decor up, Christmas lights, etc. So it's now officially spring, as of the 21st of March. So it's time to get those things down. Um,
Cool.
there won't be any violation notices for any of these things going out for 30 days. So essentially you get two courtesy periods. And the purpose of that is to give you time with this first, which is the spring readiness notice. And then obviously if you need a second reminder, then that would be your first courtesy notice. So we want to give you plenty of time to address these issues. And again, when it comes to any one of these things, if you need a recommendation for someone to do these things, we've negotiated rates in the past for pressure washing. As well. So if that's something that needs to be done and the community wants to come together and go back and look at negotiating some of those things, please let us know. House modifications, again, same thing. This is just kind of a spring housekeeping kind of issue. Just make sure you get ARC approval. And it's not limited to the following. But these are some of the biggest things that we just want to make sure people are aware of. Mailboxes. So if you're going to do a brick mailbox or change a mailbox, just make sure that you put in an ARC because they have to look a specific way. And in the past, we've had it happen where we've had to unfortunately ask the homeowner to completely rebuild the mailbox. So please send it to us. We have a contractor that has been doing all of the mailboxes in the community, so they'll make sure they look the same. But even if you use your own contractor, just make sure your contractor can replicate what we currently have. Fences and staining, again, under no circumstances is chain link permitted. The only area where you'll ever see chain link is along the highway, and that's because the DOT places that fence. Because that is on their property line within the community. But as far as individual homeowner fences, no chain link. So if you're going to do a fence, construction or staining, just make sure you put an ARC in. Even if you have a question about it, just send it in or give us a call. We'll help you through the process. And then painting. Any color change must be approved, right? So this applies to siding and shutters or trim. If you are trying to do a color match and you're unsure if you're actually doing the correct color match, also reach out to us. Color matches don't have to be approved, but sometimes color matches get a little wonky. And so we want to make sure that you're actually matching the correct color. So if you have a question before you paint, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll come over and tell you, oh, no, that doesn't match, and help you out before it ever becomes an issue. We also have a published list of improvements and paint colors that are available. We posted it a couple years ago. We're going to send that out as well with our spring readiness letter. And it just talks about everything from additional colors that we've added to things like improvements for mailboxes, garage doors, front doors, shutters, etc. We want people to continue to improve their homes and love their homes. We just want to make sure it's done the right way. And of course, any external home or property modifications. So again, garage doors, front doors, shutters, additions, driveway expansions, make sure you put an ARC in. We know that historically, especially with exclusive, it's taken a long time to get the ARCs answered, and we've had to have people bypass and come directly to us. That will not be an issue with the new management company. You will get timely responses to your ARC request. So please just make sure that you are submitting those. Also, please make sure you read the HOA covenants. They're found under the portal in the document section. It's just something that we want people just to be aware of. Know what you've signed up for, but also know your rights. And make sure you know what process needs to be followed. Make sure that those things are being done. Not only to hold us accountable, but that also helps us hold the management company accountable. If the management company is not following the process outlined in our covenants, we need to know that. Because it's not that we're paying them, but two, it's not fair to you as the homeowner. And last but not least, violations and fines are daily until the issues are corrected. So there's a three-letter notification process, right? So you get the courtesy notice, second notice, and the third fine notice. There's been some questions people have asked, like, well, how did I get this? Well, it took three letters before the fines ever came. So please keep in mind and keep a lookout for those things if you have them. Vehicle violations are the only ones that require a single notice. And then, of course, unaddressed fines. We do not want these to go to legal. We don't, that's a headache for everybody and an additional cost for you. That it doesn't make sense for it to happen. So if you need some reprieve, if you have questions, if you need to work out some sort of plan, please, 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 please reach out to us. Send an email. Some of you guys have our numbers. Some of you are, please, if you see us in passing, hey, I tried to get a hold of them. All right, send us an email. We'll set up a call with you. Because we want to make sure that it never gets to that third line here, and having things transferred to legal. Honestly, we don't even want to see it get to a fine status. If there's something that we can do ahead of time to work with you before it ever gets there, we'll do it. But we have to know. We don't keep a list of the running violations. That's what we pay a management company for. But we can step in and help you if you let us know what's going on. And events. So Spring Fling Block Party. So we're going to start doing some events again. Our first event is going to be April 19th, 2025. We will put the time out. We have not discussed the start time yet, but that will be coming out. It will be in the Nace Court cul-de-sac, and there will be music, food, and games. And this will also be your opportunity to meet the new management company as well. They're going to be coming out. Um, this is just we want to start small and see if we get some participation in these events. And if we start to see that people really want to do things, that'll help us get into some bigger events. We don't want to have an expensive event and no one ever shows up. So we're going to start with this. One thing, if you are a DJ, we are looking for a DJ. We will pay. We're not looking for free services, but we are looking for a DJ to DJ this event as well. I know we have a couple in the community. I will be reaching out to the ones that I know, but if you're on this call and it is something that you're interested in doing and pricing out for us, we will gladly take you up on that and have a conversation. Okay, city updates. So Miller Road Bridge is on schedule as of now. It's set to reopen in August. So we do have a few more months of this detours and the traffic issues, but when it's done, we'll have a nice bridge with bike lanes and everything else. So that's exciting. The Panola Road Bridge, according to the city engineer, has been pushed out until December for demo. So for those of you who are not aware, we are also getting a new Panola Road overpass. And so it was supposed to have started in May of this year. The last update that I got, it was pushed out to December of 2025. And I'll check back with the city because I know that they were pushing back on DOT to see if they could get that date moved up a little closer to May. So as any changes come through, I will make sure that I share that with you guys in the community. Okay, so we got through that stuff fairly quickly, and I'm glad we did, because we want to have plenty of time for open discussion. All right, so just make sure you have your questions. Be respectful. Understand we're all here for the same reasons: betterment and upkeep of the community. Rude, accusatory, disrespectful comments will not be tolerated, and you will be removed from the call. And there might be some topics that are best discussed separate with board members. So we don't want to litigate your fines or go into your individual HOA issues. If it's a general concern or question, we can address it here. Or if you want to, bring up a topic and say, hey, I'd like to speak with you guys offline, that's perfectly fine as well. But we don't want to get into the specifics of anyone's case because it's also your privacy that we want to maintain as well. So with that, there are some hands that I know went up, and this is open discussion for all the board members. We'll all be answering questions. I think, Tawana, yours was the first one I saw.
Good morning, everyone. Just quick question. I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here, Jeremy and board. With our entry sign, do we still have to have the percentage voting on that sign like we have to have for voting on the pool?
No, no, we're
Okay.
just putting this out to the community because we want people to have feel like they got a say in the direction we're going in, but we don't have
Okay.
to have that.
So with that being said, we have been trying for so many years to get this pool. I'm over the pool. The pool's not happening for me now at this point. The money is spent. We've moved on. But is there a way that as again, playing devil's advocate, as a community, we could go after the, I guess, what is it, DR Horton or whoever started our HOA bylaws? Is there anything we can do? Because if we are only right now at 41 participants in our neighborhood, when it comes to us changing these bylaws, we are going to run into roadblocks every single time. And I really feel like if we never, I said it before, if we never received the items that are listed in our bylaws when they were established, I still don't understand how we are still held to those bylaws. Because that's like saying, oh, I'm going to give you this, but oh, I changed my mind and I'm not. But you still have to abide by those rules or those laws. So I just wanted to know, just as a community, it seems like our going door to door is not really working because we still have, what do you say, 10 more. And now we might have to look at the dates and start all over again. And that's just really frustrating as a homeowner when we need to have these laws changed immediately in order to preserve our neighborhood, even as it relates to the renters. Renters coming in, or, we have so many of those coming in now that we don't really know how many, I don't know if we know how many we have total now in our neighborhood.
That's actually a good question. And that's one we need to take back to the attorney. I would be interested to know specifically around the pool section because from what I understand, a lot of you, especially in the front, were told that that was a part of what was coming into the community. I know some of us in the back weren't, but some people say in the back they were told that. But I do know some of you in the front were told that. And I wonder if you guys have any remaining documentation from when you purchased the property or anything that said that that was something that was there, because that would actually be an interesting question to take back to our attorney and go and say, look, these homeowners closed on these properties based off of this, and it's in this documentation and never showed up. What sort of recourse do we either have to go back after the builder to, to get them to supplement the cost to put some of these things? Probably not any, really. But if nothing else, what sort of recourse does it give us to go and have the bylaws updated around a specific topic and not need to go through a normal process? Some stuff, even you have to litigate against yourself, but some stuff can be taken to the courts and ask them to make a change based on certain circumstances. But I can't answer that question. That's something that we need to take back to legal, but it is a good question, and I will ask our paralegal about that.
Thank
Next,
you.
I don't know who was next. Javon, okay.
I'm next, but it's talking about my computer is about to shut down. I'm gonna try to talk really quickly.
Okay.
One, my Facebook was hacked. I've been fighting to get it back for a year. Can you all put correspondence on Facebook and on Nextdoor? Like, if you know you're getting ready to type something in Facebook, can you just simply type it in Nextdoor as well, so that people who aren't visible on Facebook can be, still have the same information correspondence? I don't know who on the board is that, but it would be nice if someone could put it in both places, because I'm sure there's information that's being shared on Facebook that I don't get to see. And now that I'm no longer on the board, I don't know anything. And it would be nice to know what's going on.
Yep, we'll do that. We'll make sure we add that. And also we're going to do better about putting signs and stuff out as well for any and all events and information that's going out.
One more thing, yard sale, is that coming at all? Community
Yes,
yard
we
sale?
will be doing a yard sale. We have to meet and talk about some dates, but we will be doing a yard sale.
And last thing is the wood features that were on the options. Why aren't they an option? They actually look nice. So I was just wondering, is there a particular reason why it's being omitted from the final thing we may get? Because on some of the renderings. They look nice.
It was really just for maintenance.
Okay.
Anytime we have wood stuff, trying to maintain it and making sure they don't rot.
Are they open to like having like a like you know how they do vinyl fences or like is there any type of e- other building material that they could use so it still has that aesthetic look versus wood?
I can ask them.
Because I mean, just me personally, I don't know. There's 47 other people on the call. Those features on the ones actually, to me, look really nice. It would be nice to have those the way they looked, but
I
that
agree.
was my
I like especially the trellis going across the top of the one with the two
yes, yes.
columns. I can definitely ask them about it. I'm sure they can. I don't see why they couldn't.
And I got one more thing to say real quick. I am now licensed broker in Georgia. I'm not just a realtor in Georgia. I'm a broker. I just wanted to let everyone know on the call, do your research when you're hiring a realtor to sell your houses here in Miller Park. There are a couple houses that I feel like have been undersold, and it affects all of our equities. It affects all of our properties. Just trying to seek out real someone who cares about you, not just trying to make a dollar selling your house, because there have been some houses that have been undersold. And I think that, and I know you can't speak on what everybody's situation is. You may be in a rush to sell, but if you're not in a rush to sell, take your time and your due diligence to interview your agent. Like I said, I'm an agent here. If you have questions, you can ask me so that you don't undersell your house and keep our property values at a certain level when they could be going up. I know it affects our property taxes, but at the end of the day, we're grown adults. We've been working hard. We've been working for this equity. We are due to equity in these homes. We've worked hard to build this equity up. The board has worked hard to build the equity up by keeping our homes nice and beautiful and all those types of things. So don't shortchange yourself. That's all I'm going to say. It's just research. You can talk to me. I live here in the neighborhood. I can help you, but don't undersell your home. Just don't. Trust me. I hate to say it, but it's been a few people in the neighborhood who have left money on the table. So that was my spiel.
Thank you very much, Miss Gash, because you were absolutely right. Okay, who's next? I think it was Miss Sutton.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
The first question I had was, have renters passed the vote?
No, that's also part of our signatures that we need to get signed is to put the rental cap in place. Right now, we don't have a cap. We have requirements for renters, but we don't have something that says we can only have a certain number.
Okay. My next question was, I understand like the updates we've been getting so far, but I also understand, our yearly HOA dues have gone up. But like what has gotten added to the neighborhood that benefits us all? Like, yes, the mailbox cover front is nice, but it's only nice for the neighbors it applies to, like, us that live in the back. When we purchased our home back in 2017, we were under the impression that we would have things, like a community pool, a clubhouse, etc.
Well, those are just gone up due to inflation. But I'll tell you that if we had a pool, your dues wouldn't be 350 or 400. They'd be $700 to $900. That's the running average for the sister communities that DR was building at the time. They're about 750 to 900. So we're really just covering costs at this point.
Okay, that's fine. But are we looking to get any of those things added to the neighborhood?
It's always an option, but the neighbors have to be willing to pay for it. So that's it. That's what it comes down to. It's always an option. There's nothing that's ever off the table. But if we do it, the neighbors have to be willing to pay for it because we'll have to finance it.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Hicks King, I believe you were next.
Yes, good morning. There is some sound behind me. We are getting our floors done, so it may be really loud, but just a few things that we just need some help with. We're a little behind with all the information, but if we could get I put it in the chat as well, if we could get the contact information for the board members for when we have questions or whatever, just want to make sure we have clarity if we're trying to get a fence or whatever the case may be, how we'll, the instructions on how we need to follow up to do that. Also with the mailboxes for the back half of the subdivision, is there a plan to get a little more lighting? Because sometimes if I'm trying to get the mail, you know, it may be in the evening time and it's still kind of dark out there. Is it possible, or is that on the table to for them to still come back and do? But just wanted to know about the lighting there for some safety reasons.
So I did install some lighting back there, but we could always get more. The problem we have back there is it has to be solar because we don't have any power drops. So we can I'll ask the management company to pick up some more spot lighting that we can put up to help
That'd
with
be
that.
awesome. That'll be awesome. And also, I heard the other neighbor just mentioned that she's a broker, and I'm a real estate agent as well. And I know you had mentioned earlier about electricians. I think it would be good if we could have those specialty type businesses in our community where we can go to each other to get assistance. Like we're looking for painters and just some different things that people are used to the floor plans here and would know how to do the estimate. If we can maybe get a list of what people do, DJs and caterers or whatever, if we can get that for the neighborhood and get that distributed, I think that would be helpful as well as resources. So I just wanted to offer that as a suggestion. So thank you.
That's a great idea, actually, and that's something that we need to do. So thank you. It's almost like what do you call it? Like the community phone book
Yes,
for
yes,
each one of your
absolutely.
specialties. Yep, that's a
Yes,
great idea.
that'll be awesome. Yes, thank you.
Hey, I think Miss Pennington, I think you were next.
Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone. Jeremy, I had a question regarding the pool amendment forms. So my question is how, if it's passed, how will that affect the traffic flow? Because especially on the main street, I realize that people are trying to do this in their backyard or wherever they want them to go, but how would that affect the traffic flow? And would it affect or change our HOA dues as well?
Are you talking about individual pools or like a community
Yes.
pool?
The individual pools.
Individual won't change. If it's passed and an individual puts a pool in, it's not going to change our dues because that's that homeowner's expense. As far as traffic, I can't really, I don't know.
Well, it's going to be bad to me because Shire is not, to me, wide enough for flow traffic if you double park on the streets. We've had that issue several times trying to get in the back, due to the traffic. So that was my only concern about the flow of the traffic if people get the pools, the individual pools.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Unfortunately, I don't really have an answer for you for that one. I don't know what that would actually look like. And that might be something that we need to explore in terms of certain parking restrictions if that's necessary. But I don't have a concrete answer to provide you at the moment.
Okay, my next question is for the entrance monuments. They were kind of small for us to actually get a good feel for. Is there a way that you can maybe send a picture out through email like you did with the meeting for today?
Yes, and when
So
I
that we
send
can
the
at
link
least see
for the
them?
voting, each option is on the link as well. So
Okay.
you'll be able to get a clear view of what each one of them is.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Coleman.
Good morning, everyone. I have two questions. Is it possible, I'm not sure if we have tabled it from previous meetings, that we can have speed bumps installed for people driving too fast through our neighborhood?
So there's a couple of options there. A couple of, I won't say options or issues. It's kind of twofold. If we want the city to do it, we'll have to go through a city analysis and have them actually come through and set up devices to measure it. But before they'll do that, again, it's kind of like the pool signature issue. We would have to get X number of people approval to get them to come out because it becomes a cost, a taxable cost on your property tax. And if it's a thing that we do as a community, we can always go to the city and say, hey, we would like permission to do this at our expense. But that becomes a zoning and property question because the streets are technically owned by the city. So it's not off the table. We just have to figure out if it's something we want to do, what path we want to take. And then we'll need to consult with our attorney if it ends up being the one where we have to actually go to the city ourselves, because we want the city to still maintain the rest of the streets, and we be responsible for the speed humps if necessary.
Okay, and my second question is, was there any money received for the purchase or sale of the land where the city has taken over in the front where they're doing all that construction? Was that
Yes,
property sold to the
that
HOA?
property was sold. That's how we're funding all the new landscaping that we have to do up front, the new monument. So essentially, it was sold for us to go back and put that money back into fixing everything that they're tearing up.
Okay, how much was that sale?
We got about $200,000.
Oh, wow.
That's how
And
we got our
was
new
there a
street
breakdown
signs.
of how it's, what we're doing?
I'm sorry?
Okay, thank you. Oh, so
Oh,
was there a breakdown or budgeting line item
so
of how the money was spent?
yes, if you go and look in the portal under the financials, you'll see the expenses in there. The biggest expense has been paying for the street signs that we put up in the community. Part of that money came out of that. And then any of the subsequent landscaping projects that we've done. So when we replaced all those trees, did the landscaping, the grass, all that kind of stuff, those funds were used for that. They were going to be used to do the new entrance, and that's going to be nearly $100,000 to do the monument entrance, and then we'll have to replace the landscaping. So right now, there's about 160,000 of that 200,000 left, and we're anticipating that we're going to consume most of that when we do the monument and lighting and landscaping up front.
Okay, thank you.
Who else? Sorry, I know some other hands went up. I want to make sure that I'm getting them in the right order. Miss Hicks, I think you put yours back up.
Yes, real quick.
Yes.
I just wanted to know for the monuments, is there are all of them the same price, or when you send that back out, there are different costs for each one?
They're roughly the same cost, about within
Okay.
$5,000 of each other.
Okay, cool. That's all I wanted. Thank you.
Who was next? So, Miss Seals.
Hi, real quick, Jeremy, another thought about, we put up the, clean up after your pets, stations towards the back. Is there any funds for us to get maybe one put up in the front of the neighborhood, like the front of the community, while neighbors are out walking their dog, that they could have maybe little bags that they could, collect their items with? Because we have a dog. We clean up after our dog, but we've noticed a couple of I guess droppings that are not our dog size in our yard. So just wanting to know if at all, I know we put most of them towards the back of the community, especially where that empty space where you're transitioning from the front to the back is where those signs are. Is that at any possibility for us to get maybe one placed further up on Shire some way? I don't
Yes,
know
we can.
at all.
We already owe one sign to the back, like the very back of Shire as well. So we can we need to get probably one more area in the community that needs it. So so that we can order three. It's cheaper for us to do it that way. So that's not really an issue. We just
Okay.
need to identify a good spot
Okay.
up front. I think the biggest issue up there is, where we put it, because we don't have a lot of common space that's like HOA space that we can put it on. So it might be by somebody's house, kind of situation. So we just need to find a location for it. But it's not a problem to do it.
Okay. And I just kind of want to make this is not a question, it's more so of a comment, that if someone gets a pool and they have a party, you're going to have traffic. People have parties and they don't have a pool, and you're going to have traffic. So I just kind of want to say to my neighbors that, you know, like how we always say, we're a family. Talk to your neighbor. Hey, I'm going to have a party. You might have some cars parking in front of your yard. Therefore, my party. Invite them to the party, even. So it's all communication. Really works. We just have to be kind, and we have to be considerate of our neighbor, and just let them know that a party is going on and it's just for a day. So, just provide a little grace to your neighbor.
Thank you. Before I go to the next question, we also want to make sure that when we have the um, event on the 19th, if you have a business, please bring your business cards to hand out as well. That's another opportunity for people to know what you do when you live in the community. Just wanted to add that.
And Jeremy, can I say one more thing? On addition to that,
Yep.
It might be a good idea if everybody that does have a business on our Facebook page, if you put your business information on our Facebook page and on our next door, so everyone in the community can see what we have here in Miller Park. Because like you said, you might be needing a service that lives right next door to you. And, you never know what type of discount or, what quality you'll get right next door to you that lives right next door. So that might be an option.
Thank you. I think it was before you, Javon. I think it was Monique.
Good morning. I was just curious, and again, I'm not familiar if this has been discussed or informed by the team, by the neighborhood at large. Do we have a rendition of what the entrance sidewalk area that the government, the Georgia Department of Transportation purchased? Do we have any idea what that's going to now look like once the Miller Road Bridge is completed?
There are some not really good drawings out there. But what I can do is the project is on the DOT site. I think I have a link to it. I'll send that out, and it'll give you somewhat of an idea of what it's going to look like. But I'll be honest, it doesn't give you like in great detail what that's going to kind of be like yet.
So the aesthetics of that area, that is, the visible face of our neighborhood, would that now be our responsibility if it's just a sidewalk with a hill mound, as it appears to be now? Because we've had, everyone knows that natural area was, authentic, but it was, drew character to the subdivision. And now it seems like we have a lot of grass on a slope at the face of our subdivision. That would be opposite, of course, of the monument. I'm just curious. Is that something that'll be our responsibility if it doesn't meet what our perceived expectation would be when that construction began?
Once they do the setback and they finish the road work, there will be like a ledge up top. We're going to plant trees all the way down all the way down that ledge. So it won't just be that messy slope that you see right now.
Mm-hmm.
We will be putting sod down on the section that is left and planting trees all the way down the length of the parking lot to kind of give it that cover that we used to have before.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Now the trees won't be as big as the trees that the trees that we had, but we're going to put some flowering trees like the ones that we put in the other section of the neighborhood when you come in.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Javon, and then it's Michelle.
I just wanted to say, because it kind of sounds like there's some people here who might have just moved in the neighborhood, and I know there was the traffic speed bump question. Essentially, those islands that go down Shire Drive are supposed to be speed deterrent devices. Unfortunately, we can't control everyone who drives in their cars, and they just don't use it as speed deterrent devices. But we do have something in the neighborhood that's supposed to regulate speed of people driving. And I just wanted to reiterate that for some people who may have just moved into the neighborhood. The other thing is, Jeremy, are you able to say on this call what our deficit is in HOA collections right now? So I
Yep.
think sometimes people just see these dollars like we're paying $400, but they don't know we might be short $80,000 and still have to maintain the land and the beautification of the neighborhood. And then the last thing is trash can by the mailbox, because people will throw stuff just on the ground like we live in a heathen neighborhood. I don't know if that's being explored, if we have to ask the city. I know you said you were going to pose a question to our new board, but is it possible we could get a trash can that essentially the city, when they come to get our trash, will take the trash to as
We can
well?
get a can. I don't know if the city will pick it up, but what we can do, I know our landscaper does some pickup service. So we might be able to, and since they come every week, get them to pull the bag. So I'll ask them, but we can get a can out there. We can get one of those nice cans, not just, somebody's dumpster.
Yeah, because I just feel like it's the same people picking the trash up, me, and sometimes it's wet, it's dirty, it's nasty, and I don't want to pick it up. And I don't feel like I should have to pick it up, but I don't like the neighborhood to look dirty.
You're
So,
absolutely right. So I will I will look into getting a can. Actually, the company that makes the street signs for us makes those
oh,
like
those cool, yeah, those wrought iron
yeah,
cans.
they make those wrought iron cans. So I will look into getting a price for that and then talk to our landscaping company and see if they can do the pickup for us. Because I don't think that I don't think that the city will or the county will do it because we don't have a
Address.
dumpster
No.
like or the green can.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Um,
And the deficit, don't forget, because I
yeah,
want to know.
give me 1 second. I'm actually pulling it up now.
So I'll say to everyone, I'm Geisha. While Jeremy is pulling up the deficit, you can always look on the portal too to look at our annual budget that was just posted out there in January. But this is a very good conversation, right? Because like we said, there's only what 45 of us, 45 homes or whatever represented on this call. We have over 100 homes. Same thing, we can't get people out. We can't get people to sign forms, this, that, and the third. And honestly, we can't get people to pay the $400 a year and HOA dues, which is really low compared to a lot of the other communities, that are out there. So I am one of those proponents of I would like to pay more HOA dues because there are certain things in my yard that I don't want to do. There are other communities that are paying far more than what we're paying, but they don't have to do any yard work. So I'm okay with that. But the majority of us in our community are not even able to pay the 400. So we do have a huge deficit. So there are tons of things that we could do. It's just if people don't pay their bills, then where's that money come from? Because right now, when you look at that budget, we're always in a deficit of some sort. So paying for those legal fees gets expensive.
Okay. Thank you, Geisha. Um, let's see. Sorry, I'm looking at the current budget. All right, so currently, just so everybody knows, our current balance in our account, which was right, $162,225. But again, that's from the project fund. We currently have $68,462 in a deficit for unpaid dues, fines, and legal fees. So when we say like we're using some of these, when it gets to the point where we're having to go legal, which is unfortunately the case, there are many situations where people have not paid their dues since they moved in. And so it's a culmination of their dues and late fees and legal fees. You know, don't get mad at us or mad at the attorneys when the attorneys are knocking at your door or there's a court date because people aren't holding their responsibility. But yes, that's our current deficit. So we're actually been supplementing some of our costs out of the construction fund to continue to improve the community. But we realistically, if we were receiving all of the funds that were due in deficit and all of the dues are being paid on time, our reserve account would be able to absorb that deficit amount, which is the number I just said, and then our regular dues would keep us in the black in terms of our monthly expenses within the HOA. But right now we are operating in the red. Actually, when I look at the account for the month, we're in the red $406. So we have not brought in enough in the month of February, because that's the last month we have to cover all of the expenses for February. So that means that dues were not being paid. Now that should be offset this month because the dues were due on the 1st of March. So when we get the account settlement for this month, I think it'll look a little bit better. But for now, that's where we stand. Miss Hare.
Good morning, neighbors. I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Michelle. I live in the back half of Shire Drive, and just wanted to give a reminder. While many of our neighbors do keep their pets on leashes, on occasion I do see a couple of neighborhood dogs that are not on leashes, kind of roaming randomly. In fact, last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, I opened my garage door and a neighbor's dog just walked right into my garage and just chilled out for a minute. So that shouldn't be happening. So just again, a reminder that if you happen to keep your dog off a leash from time to time, please keep them on your property. I suspect fenced in. I don't know what the rules are from a county standpoint, but if you're a pet owner, you probably know that. So that's it. And have a great day.
Thank you. And you're absolutely right. There is actually a county ordinance that requires that all dogs be leashed. And then if they're off leash, it does need to be in a fenced contained within your yard. So that could be either with the electric fence or like a actual fence. But yes, and I want to add to what you were also saying in that even if your dog is on leash, if you have an aggressive animal, keep that in mind when you're walking your dog. I've been made aware of at least one homeowner that's been bitten by a dog in the last month that was being walked. And so I don't have all the details about, how the biting occurred, other than the dog was obviously aggressive and did end up injuring innocent homeowner. So please keep that in mind when you are walking your animals, because I've seen dogs get aggressive with other dogs just because they're seeing people out walking them. And the last thing we need is, a dog fight, somebody being injured or killed because of an aggressive animal. So please keep that in mind. Miss Sutton.
And may I just say one more
yeah.
thing too? You just reminded me, I've been out walking many times, and there have been dogs, again, unleashed. And while the owner may be on the front lawn, in the front of the house with the dog, the dog is unleashed and will run up to me, barking and all. And I'm terrified of dogs. I've said this before on our calls, but so when that happens, I get into a mild panic. The dog is nervous, panic, whatever. And it's not a pleasant situation either. So again, your dog, and I know people have said before, my dog's never bitten anyone in 10 years, all of that, but that doesn't matter. If you may know the temperament of your animal, but others don't. So another call to action to please keep your dogs leashed and controlled. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Sutton, you were next.
Okay, yes, I had a question back referring to the front sign, and you were saying something about 200,000.
We received $200,000 in the sale of the land. And then we're estimating that we're going to spend that $160,000 that's remaining on the signage, the lighting, the metal work for the actual naming and then all the landscaping.
Yes, I'm aware of that. I just had a question about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was under the impression that since the county removed it, they were going to be responsible, for putting it back.
No, that was they compensate us for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
And Chiquita, I believe you are next.
Yes, how y'all doing? Could you just expound on the Lacey Lane fencing project?
Yes. So the section, we replaced a section of fence starting at the very front of Lacey and Miller. And then there's a section that was never stained. So we're going to be staining all of that fencing. From, I guess there's actually one house that has enclosed their yard. So from that house all the way down to Miller Road, we're going to be staining that fencing.
Okay, so that will not take effect for the homeowners all the way across Lacey to the end?
To the end, you mean on the other side going toward Shire?
Correct.
So if your fence is overgrown, we can't get to it, then we won't be staining it. But if it's open fencing, we'll get it. So like we already did a section, we did the section of Shire up until a fence was enclosed, all the way up to Lacey. I think Geisha, was it right behind your house or the house next to yours that we stopped at?
Yes, it was because we did mine, and I want to say really the next one over we couldn't do it because it
Okay.
was too overgrown.
So if it's overgrown, we can't get to it. But if you have it cleared by the time we're going through the staining process, then we can address it. But again, we're only doing fences if the fence is not enclosed. So once you close that fence off, if you add sides to the fencing, then that's your responsibility. But if you keep it open, like the homes that we're talking about, then we would hit that with the stain.
Okay, I got you. Okay, thank you.
We got a couple minutes left. Any other questions before we get out of here?
Yeah, I have a quick question. Don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
Could someone tell me what's going on across the street as far as someone seems to be dumping trash across the street?
Yes. So that's been a nightmare for the last few years, right? It started off as this man tearing down trees to build what he thought was going to be apartments. I don't know. We were able to get the city to step in to shut that down and to make him put a fence up. I did call Keep the Cab Beautiful to have them come out and pick up the mattress. And it looks like a part of a sofa that's been dumped. They haven't gotten out there to get it yet. But I did put that in. So what we'll have to do anytime we see dumping happening, we just have to call them and they get it on their schedule for pickup.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Jeremy, can you send us the link or make that link for Keep the Cab Beautiful? So maybe if more people from our neighborhood are calling them about the dumping, then maybe, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if we're all complaining about it, then maybe they'll come and remove whatever trash is over there.
Yes, I will do that. I will, when I send the link out for the monuments, I'll send the link out for Keep the Cab Beautiful. And also, I'm gonna send our city councilman's information for our district. That's also just good for us to have if you run into something that we need help with getting addressed in our area. It's good to have his contact information. And also just to keep a pulse of what's going on in the area. So I'll send that out all in one email.
Will you include the number for lights when the street lights go out, since you're sending something out, so that neighbors will know who to call to report their street light number for the bulbs going out?
Yeah, I'll put the link in that for that too, because you can do that online just by putting the street address and the light number in there. So I'll just put the links in there for that. So let me write that down so I don't forget. Oh, hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm sending the Keep the Cab Beautiful link. City Councilman and Georgia Power. Okay, I got it. All right. Okay, well, it is 11 o'clock. on the dot. So if there are no other questions, guys, we are going to let you go. If you have questions after this, our email address is millerparkpoa@gmail.com. And that's where these links are going to be coming from, that email address. So you will have that email. Send us your questions there. And we will be able to address those concerns that you might have. And that's it, guys. We appreciate your time. And like I said, this will be recorded and will be posted. So if you want to go back and review it or share it with neighbors who missed it, that'll be available tomorrow as well.
All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Jeremy.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jeremy.
No problem. Thank you, guys.